Today we're going to talk about a tool called risk profile. You know, we take risk in life. Crossing the street. Hopefully it's not risky, but there's some risk in there. We think we evaluate these risks, and mostly we evaluate them in some very subjective way in our head. It is useful in business to be very intentional and be overt in evaluating risk objectively. This tool is going to help you do that. Let's start with a little game. Let us say that I owe you some money. Let's say I owe you $1,000. And we have agreed in this arrangement that I'll pay you $100 on the first of every month for the next 10 months. That's our arrangement. And we agree that if I paid you $100 on the first of every month for the next 10 months, my indebtedness to you would be completely discharged. Now, let's assume that you have no concerns about my integrity or my financial capacity to pay. Say, I ask, how about we spice things up a bit? Now, I'm happy to pay the $100 each of the next 10 months, but alternatively, what if every month on the first we toss a coin? The coin comes out heads, I pay you $200 that month. Coin comes out tails, I pay you nothing that month. Next month, toss a coin again. Heads, 200, tails, 0 for each of 10 months. I ask you, would you want to, as an alternate to the original scheme, adopt this scheme instead? Would you take me up on that? Let's analyze the new method, the new offer. Heads 200, tails 0, each of 10 months. What is the expected value of the amount you would get? Well, because, again, assuming it's an even fair coin, half the time heads, half the time tails, you would expect the $1,000. The expected value of the outcome is likely to be $1,000. Could be more, could be less, in fact could be as much as 2,000, could be as little as 0, but the expected value, on the average, you would get 1,000. So you go to the people who says, yeah, I'll take you up on it, and I ask them, why did you take that offer? They go, well, I could get 2,000. I tell them, well, you could get 0. They go, yeah, but I could get 2,000. But you could get 0. They're focused on getting the 2,000, and they realize they could get 0. And I point out, wait a minute, on the average, it'll be 1,000. So what did you get? I go to the guys who say, no, I don't want that deal. I want my original deal. I ask them, why not? They go, no, I don't like risk. Why don't you like risk? No, I don't like risk. I'm risk averse. You know, neither of them really get to the heart of what caused them to make that decision. They just acted from the gut, intuition. This tool is going to help you understand that. On the average, you only get $1,000. But I say to the person who took the offer of this coin flipping, I say to them, you know, you didn't really, on the average, get any more money, but you did lose something. Let me tell you what you lost. Based on the original scheme, where I would pay you $100 every month for 10 months, based on that scheme, you could have gone and bought a dishwasher and signed a contract with the dishwasher salesperson that you would pay $65 every month for the next 10 months as payment for the dishwasher. And you knew that you could pay that $65 because of the cash flow that would be coming from me every month, guaranteed. You had that ability. When you took the new offer of flipping coins, you lost that ability because you are not guaranteed the cash flow now. So you lost that ability. I asked them, what did you gain by flipping to this coin flipping methodology? They invariably point out, I could get 2,000. And I go, you could get 0. And we go back and forth on the 2,000 and 0. And we realize they didn't get anything. And by that time, the person who was risk averse all of a sudden becomes a wise risk averse person. But you know something? This other person who took the offer got something that you didn't. You go, what did they get? You know what? The person who took the offer, they got a ticket to the roller coaster. In fact, 10 tickets to the roller coaster. Every month on the 30th or the 31st, they couldn't wait for the first to show up, because on the first, we're going to flip a coin. And by golly, that excitement, they couldn't wait for. They were waiting for that excitement because they were going to know whether they're getting 200 or 0 that month. That's a roller coaster ride they got. How much did they pay for it? 0. They got 10 free tickets to the roller coaster. So in reality, the reason the person who took the offer took it is because of that emotional roller coaster ride. The reason the other person didn't take it is because they didn't want that roller coaster ride. Risk and reward can be mathematically represented as the expected value and the standard deviation of possible future outcomes. Reward is the expected value of the possible future outcomes. Risk is the standard deviation of the possible future outcomes. When you understand the math behind it, you can be more intentional, more analytical in deciding should you take this risk or not. So, for example, in the case of the coin flipping example I just mentioned, the reward in the original scheme of $100 every month is $1,000. No matter what, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get $100 each of 10 months. The standard deviation, there is no deviation. You're going to get $100 each of 10 months, $1,000 total. So reward 1,000, risk 0. In the new scheme I suggested, where you flip a coin every month, the reward expected value is still 1,000. But the standard deviation, possible variation, huge variation from 0 to 2,000. Risk increased, reward did not increase. And therefore, bad deal. In business, you need to be able to understand what is risk, what is reward, and compute that analytically so that you're not operating from gut. Once you have done that, you can create something called a risk profile. Risk profile is a graph where you map reward and risk on 2 dimensions. And you ask yourself, for a given amount of risk, how much reward do I need to have for me to be interested in taking that risk? When you analyze that, you will find that there is a graph that looks something like this that represents your risk profile. What this means is that for this much risk, you demand this much reward as a minimum to accept this risk. So you will take any opportunity that lies in this space. You'd be happy to take more reward, but you won't take less reward for a given amount of risk. Another person, I'm going to color in red, might have a different risk profile. The red person demands for this much risk that much reward. They will pass up on this opportunity. They will say, no, I'm not going to take that opportunity, whereas the blue person would take that opportunity. The blue person is more risk tolerant than the red person who is more risk averse. You can create this map for yourself by observing in different situations the amount of reward that you got and amount of risk that you took. For your business, you can create a risk profile for the business. By accumulating data in your business and creating a risk profile, you will understand how risky you are willing to be. You can make decisions more analytically when you understand your risk profile. The idea of risk and reward can be mathematically defined. People operate intuitively, and as a result are very probably more risk averse than they need to be. If you operate more analytically and compute your risk profile, you can be more risk tolerant in your practice. What is your risk profile?